Last week, Jimin debuted his new solo episode Muse on the Billboard charts. The BTS singer's latest offering on his own was another big win for the musician, who has proved his popularity both as part of the biggest boy band on the planet and outside of that septet. One frame later, Muse is starting to fall, as the vast majority of albums do after a healthy debut. The set's new single, meanwhile, is actually gaining ground, as fans haven't stopped buying it from the moment it was first made available. Who climbs on the Hot 100 in its second week on the tally? That kind of performance isn't necessarily unheard of, though these days, many exciting new arrivals from major musicians peak when they first arrive. That's when interest in streaming and buying the tune is at its zenith, and quite a few cuts don't manage to improve from where they launched. After starting its time on the Hot 100 last week at number 14, Who is gaining ground? This time around, the single jumps to spots to settle in its new peak of number 12, almost giving the South Korean talent another solo top 10 on the competitive chart. Sales are largely to thank for the ascent. Who sold more than 52,000 copies in its first 7-day tracking period in the US that was easily enough for the single to debut at number 1 on the digital song sales chart. In its second stint on that tally, the tune doesn't budge an inch. Who rules the purchase-only roster for a second consecutive frame. The single sold another 48,000 copies in the past tracking week, according to Luminate. It's rare for new arrivals to experience such a strong second period, but Jimin fans kept buying all the many versions of the song the singer released in an effort to accomplish exactly what he managed sustained success on the Hot 100. Based on how Who appears to be selling in its third consecutive tracking frame, it looks like the tune will begin to fall on the charts when they're refreshed again. The single will likely spend another week or two on the Hot 100, if not more. It may also continue to perform well on the digital song sales list, as pure purchases may be its strongest asset. Meanwhile, Muse is working its way down on the Billboard 100 albums chart. The episode slips from number 2, where it started its time on the tally, to number 17. On the top album sales list, the title fares a bit better. It slips from the runner-up rung to number 10, earning a second stay inside the top 10.